Students, in the last video we studied about combination reaction and decomposition reaction. So in this video let us continue with displacement reaction. Now see, we saw in the beginning of this chapter that on adding zinc dust to blue colored copper sulfate solution, a colorless solution of zinc sulfate is formed and heat is generated. See the equation 3 for this reaction. Now see, you know, in the first, that is in equation 3, okay, I showed you this activity also, that copper sulfate is blue color solution. So when you added zinc to this copper sulfate solution, what happened, you know that is, the copper from this copper sulfate solution, okay, it was displaced by zinc, isn't it? And the solution became zinc sulfate. Copper sulfate was blue color, but when you added zinc to it, it became zinc sulfate and the solution was colorless, isn't it? Now what happened here? See, zinc being more reactive than copper, it displaced copper from copper sulfate solution, isn't it? So what happened? See, the zinc which is there, wait, I'll show you. See, see this zinc, okay, yes, being more reactive than copper, okay, what happened? It displaced copper, okay, from this copper sulfate solution and became zinc. The solution became zinc sulfate. This zinc sulfate, okay, which was formed, it was colorless, but initially this copper sulfate, it was blue in color, isn't it? Now when you added zinc to it, okay, the solution became zinc sulfate and it was a colorless solution. Now during this reaction, what happened? Heat is generated. So during this reaction, heat is generated. Now if heat is generated, what type of reaction it is? You've studied about this. It is exothermic reaction, isn't it? Two types of reactions, that is exothermic and endothermic reaction. So this reaction, okay, heat is evolved over here during the reaction, that is why it is exothermic reaction. Okay, see, from that we learnt that zinc ions, okay, formed from zinc atoms take the place of copper ions, yes, in copper sulfate, and copper atoms formed from Cu2 plus, okay, ion came out. It means that, see, it means that zinc, okay, displaces copper from copper sulfate solution. So I told you this zinc is going to displace copper. So why it is going to displace? Because zinc is more reactive than copper. So the reaction in which the place of the ion of a less reactive element in a compound is taken by another more reactive element by formation of its own ions is called displacement reaction. So what is this displacement reaction? See, definition, very important. The reaction in which the place of the ion of a less reactive element, okay, so the less reactive element ion is formed now, so that is displaced, okay, with the more reactive element. How? By formation of its own ions. So this we call it as displacement reaction. We will learn about reactivity of elements in the chapter on metallurgy. Okay, so you are going to study about this, see, in the chapter metallurgy. So the elements iron and lead, okay, similar to zinc, displace copper from its compounds. Okay, so the elements, which one? See, the elements iron and lead, okay, similar to zinc, just like how zinc, it is displacing copper, okay, just like that this iron and lead also is going to displace copper from its compound. Why? Because again this iron and this lead, it is more reactive than copper. Complete the following reactions and give names of products. Okay. So CuSO4 plus Fe. Okay. So what it is going to form? Again, yes, you are going to do this in your notebook. Okay. I am not going to tell you. You know it is displacement reaction. So you are going to refer which equation? 3. Okay. Yes. See, you are going to refer equation 3. Okay. So then you will know how to write this. Copper sulfate plus iron. You know what is going to displace what? Yes. See here in the above equation, iron and lead is going to be displaced, isn't it? Is going to displace which one? Copper. So here also, you know what is going to happen? What is going to displace what? Right? Yes. So you are going to try this. Copper sulfate plus iron, what is going to form? Copper sulfate plus lead. Okay. It's just like equation 3. Now double displacement reaction. We have seen in the equation 9 that a white precipitate of silver chloride is formed by an exchange of silver and sodium ions present in the reactants. So equation 9. Okay. So what you have seen in equation 9, white precipitate of silver chloride is formed, isn't it, by an exchange of silver and sodium ions present in the reactant. So you know equation 9. Okay. Yes. See, I'll show you. See, it's over here. I think I've shown you the activity also. Silver nitrate and sodium chloride forms silver chloride and sodium nitrate, right? Yes. So I told you over there that in silver nitrate, okay, silver is displaced by sodium, and here sodium is displaced by silver, right? Yes. So 2 times displacement has taken place, right? So see, let us continue. Okay. See, the reaction in which the ions in the reactants are exchanged to form a precipitate are called double displacement reaction. So what is going to happen over here? Yes, the ions in the reactants. Okay. So what happens? The ions in the reactants, they are exchanged, isn't it? Yes. So to form a precipitate. So we saw white color precipitate had been formed. I showed you the activity also. If you go back to the video, you will be able to see that. So the reaction in which the ions in the reactants, okay, they exchange with each other. Yes. So that time, okay, you know, you saw silver nitrate, you took sodium chloride, you took, right? Yes. So what happened when you took AgNO3 and NaCl? You saw the ions got exchanged, and what happened? Precipitate was, white color precipitate was formed. So this type of reaction we call it as double displacement reaction. So what is this double displacement reaction? The reaction in which the ions in the reactants are exchanged to form a precipitate are called double displacement reaction. So recall the activity 3 in which you added potassium chromate, okay, into the solution of barium sulfate. Okay, so what you are going to do? See, you are going to take potassium chromate and you are going to add it into barium sulfate solution. Okay. Yes. See, potassium chromate is taken in a test tube. Okay, it is yellow in color. Now barium sulfate, okay, which is white in color, is taken. It is milky white in color. Okay, so when you are adding this one potassium chromate to barium sulfate solution, okay, you can see the precipitate. See, now you can observe more closely. So yellow color precipitate of barium chromate is formed. Okay, yes. Okay, so I showed you the activity, right? Yes, so I'm sure you understood. Now see, recall the activity 3 in which you added potassium chromate into the solution of barium sulfate, okay, BaSO4. So no need to recall also. Just now I showed you the activity again, isn't it? Now what was the color of the precipitate formed? Yes, you are going to write this. Just now I showed you what color precipitate. If you don't know, just go back a few seconds, you will know what color the precipitate formed was, isn't it? Then write the name of the precipitate. Okay, so which precipitate had been formed? Now write down the balanced equation for this reaction. So you will have to write down the balanced equation. See, okay, I'll show you. Wait. K K2, I'll write a little smaller. See, K2CrO4, right, plus barium sulfate. So BaSO4, okay, will form double displacement, isn't it? So K is replaced by barium, right? So BaCrO4, okay, yes, plus that is barium chromate, right, is formed, plus K2SO4. Now see, this is that is potassium chromate plus barium sulfate. Okay, so here what happens, the double displacement reaction takes place and potassium is replaced by barium and barium is replaced by potassium, right? Yes, so this is the equation, and how to balance the equation I have taught you. So you are going to balance the equation. Will you call this reaction a displacement reaction or double displacement reaction? Of course, this is double displacement reaction because displacement has taken 2 times, isn't it? Yes. Now, okay, yes, you can answer all these 4 questions by seeing the activity also, I am sure. I'll show you one more small clip to show you, to make you clear with displacement and double displacement reaction.
Classified into two: single displacement reaction and double displacement reaction. Single displacement reaction. Single displacement reaction
That is the displacement
may be defined
reaction
as the chemical reaction in which a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element from the soluble solution of its compound. Further, the displacement reactions are very common in metals. Let's consider a reaction between copper metal and silver nitrate solution. Here, copper displaces silver from aqueous solution of silver nitrate. Now, non-metals also take part in displacement reaction. When chlorine gas is passed through aqueous solution of potassium bromide, chlorine will displace bromine from potassium bromide solution. and in case of metals which are more reactive than hydrogen, displace hydrogen from dilute acids. When zinc metal is placed in dilute sulfuric acid, zinc metal displaces hydrogen ions H plus as hydrogen gas. Similarly, highly reactive metals replace hydrogen from water. As such, calcium in water reacts and forms calcium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Double displacement reaction. Double displacement reactions may be defined as the chemical reactions in which one component, each of both the reacting molecules, get exchanged to form the products. Double displacement reactions can be further classified into three types: neutralization reaction, precipitation.
Now see this double displacement reaction, again it is that is classified into neutralization reaction, precipitation reaction and gas formation reaction. This you don't have in your syllabus now. So I think this will be enough for you to understand. Now see, the next part is endothermic reaction and endothermic and exothermic processes and reactions. Okay. Now you know something about this. Okay. Yes. Endo means what? Inside. Means what? Heat is used up from outside to inside, isn't it? Exothermic means what? Exothermic means exo means outside, the thermic means what? Heat is released outside, isn't it? Yes, see, I'll show you. This exo means what? Outside. Thermic means what? Heat. So heat is released, okay, during the reaction. Endo means what? See, heat. Thermic means again heat, I told you. Yes, so that is heat is used up during the reaction. So that is endothermic and exothermic. So see, heat is absorbed and given away in various processes and reactions. Accordingly, processes and reactions are classified as endothermic and exothermic reactions. So sometimes during the reaction what happens? Heat is absorbed and sometimes what will happen? It is given away to the atmosphere. Okay. So that is to the environment. Now what happens? In some of the reactions heat is absorbed. In some of the reactions heat is given away. So that this processes and this reactions are classified as endothermic and exothermic reaction. Now see, endothermic and exothermic processes. Heat from outside is absorbed during some physical changes. For example, melting of ice, dissolution of potassium nitrate in water. Therefore, these are endothermic processes. So what happens? See, in some of the reactions, okay, in some of the reactions, what happens? Heat from outside is absorbed. Okay, heat from outside is absorbed. So that is during some physical changes. Okay, so this we call it as what? Endothermic reaction. Now see, for example, melting of ice. You know, when ice melts, okay, it is going to use the heat from outside, isn't it? And therefore what happens is the ice, it is going to use the heat from outside and therefore it is going to melt. Then dissolution of potassium nitrate in water. Now what happens? You know, see, potassium nitrate, okay, when you add water to potassium nitrate, what happens? You know, see, you take some potassium nitrate in test tube, you add water to it, what, and then you touch the test tube, okay, what you are going to observe? You will feel that the temperature of that solution has become less. Okay, so this is an example of endothermic process. One more thing you can do at home. You take some salt, okay, and put it in water. You will observe that the temperature of water has fallen down. Okay, yes. Therefore, these are endothermic processes. On the other hand, heat is given away during some physical changes. Okay, you saw in this above examples, heat from outside was absorbed, isn't it? But during some other physical processes, heat is given away. Okay, for example, formation of ice from water. Okay, yes. Then dissolution of sodium hydroxide in water. Therefore, these are exothermic processes. So, sometimes what happens, when ice is converted to water, or dissolution of sodium hydroxide, okay, sodium hydroxide, when you add water to it, what happens, you take some sodium hydroxide in a test tube. When you add water to it, you will observe that the test tube has become hot. Okay, you will feel the temperature of the solution has increased. Okay, so this is exothermic reaction. It's an example of exothermic reaction. Now, therefore, these are, see, exothermic processes. In the process of dilution of concentrated sulfuric acid with water, very large amount of heat is liberated. Now, when you add water to concentrated sulfuric acid, that time also you will observe that large amount of heat is liberated. As a result, water gets evaporated instantaneously. So, what happens? You will observe that, see, because the temperature has raised, okay, the temperature has raised and lots of heat is liberated. Because of this, water immediately, that is when you are going to pour water in sulfuric acid, okay, because large amount of heat is liberated, that water, okay, is going to get evaporated. It's immediately going to evaporate. Why? Because of heat. Okay, because of the heat. Okay, if it is poured into the concentrated sulfuric acid, and because large amount of heat is liberated, what might happen, it can cause accidents. So to avoid this, required amount of water is taken in a glass container and small quantity of concentrated sulfuric acid at a time is added with stirring. Therefore, only a small amount of heat is liberated at a time. So, if you add water, okay, if you add water to sulfuric acid, that time large amount of heat is liberated and this may cause accidents. Okay, therefore, to prevent this, what is done? See, you're going to take some water and you're going to add small quantity of concentrated sulfuric acid to the water by continuously stirring it. Okay, so what will happen? Only a small amount of heat is liberated at a time. When water heats, you take some oil, okay, in a container and you heat oil. What will happen if you, that is, put drops of water on that? Immediately you will see the water, immediately it's coming out, isn't it? You will, that is, accidents might cause because of this, right? Yes. So, that is why, to prevent the accidents, okay, here also what is done, you are going to add small quantities of sulfuric acid to the water instead of adding water to the sulfuric acid. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. So we will carry out some of the endothermic and exothermic processes. So we will continue this in the next video. So you have seen in today's video I have told you about displacement reaction and double displacement reaction. So all the 4 reactions I have explained to you, isn't it? Combination, reaction, then what the some decomposition reaction, displacement reaction and double displacement reaction. So all the 4 reactions I have explained to you. Then after that I have shown you some activities also regarding, that is some examples, okay, regarding this reactions I have shown you, and endothermic and exothermic processes and reactions, those also I have explained to you, okay, and the activity part which is there, we will continue that in the next video.